Welcome to Ornaments of Grace, stories for Advent and Christmas. From the Gospel of Matthew. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they said, "He is possessed." The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they said, "Look, he is a glutton and a drunkard." But wisdom is vindicated by her works. St. John of the Cross lived in Spain in the 1500s, at the same time as St. Teresa of Avila. He suffered the loss of his father while very young, lived in poverty, struggled to work exceedingly hard, and became a priest. With St. Teresa, and at her request, John co-founded the Order of the Discalced, or Barefoot Carmelites, reforming the Carmelite order by returning them to a stricter following of the rule. Leading by example, John lived in a hovel and lived a life of austerity. As a result of confusing orders from the church at one point, John decided to follow the higher authority and was imprisoned for disobeying orders. In prison, he had barely enough room to lie down, was fed only bread and water, and underwent public flogging weekly. During this time, John wrote beautiful poetry and received insights from consoling heavenly visitations, which he shared in many of his writings. He miraculously escaped from prison after 9 months. John then worked tirelessly to establish more monasteries. As he strove to get the Discalced Carmelite nuns' constitutions approved by the Pope, he incurred the wrath of his superior, who removed him from his office and sent him to languish in one of the poorest monasteries of all. There John fell sick, while the superior tried to get him expelled from the monastery John had helped to found. This never happened because John died there. His constant prayer was to suffer and to be despised. As the scripture says in today's gospel, to follow Jesus as John the Baptist did will lead to being despised by some. To do as Jesus himself did will also lead to being despised by some. There is no way around the cross. St. John of the Cross, though very strict with himself and sometimes with others, overflowed with kindness and relished the beautiful in life, such as poetry. He threw himself into the works of God with great energy and enthusiasm. In the end, even his enemies saw his sanctity. John wrote about and lived through the dark night of the soul, a period of cleansing and emptying through which we must pass to be purified, leaving room in our hearts for God to fill us with the freedom to act with the wonderful energy of God's own life, to spread God's radiant light in our world. St. John of the Cross is our 13th ornament of grace. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they said, "He is possessed." The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they said, "Look, he is a glutton and a drunkard." But wisdom is vindicated by her works. Observing the beautiful ornaments, how can you submit to the heavy trials of the dark night without getting lost there? Do you have a favorite saint who suffered greatly and yet performed marvelous works with an energy that can only come from God? How does that saint help to guide you in everyday life?
Shalom World Podcasts is now available on all online platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others.